Welcome to Lima, the capital and the largest city in Peru and the jump-off point for Dakar 2018. A city that starts on the Pacific seafront and winds quickly up into the mountains, the second most populous city in South America after Sao Paulo. An important early civilization for the Incas, there are many layers of history here, from ancient shrines through early colonial architecture, temples and churches, mixing with the hallmarks of a thriving 21st century cultural and commercial hub. The historic centre is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, famed for its seafood delicacy of ceviche. It's a city which is never far away from an adventure. This landmark 40th edition of the Dakar, the 10th on South American soil, will see the riders and drivers tackle almost 9,000 kilometres across Peru, Bolivia and Argentina. During a tough first week, it'll be straight onto the rolling sands of Peru as the rally winds its way down the Pacific coast through Pisco, San Juan de Marcona and Arequipa. By the time the competitors prepare to hit the heights in Bolivia, they'll be more than ready for a well-earned rest day in the capital, La Paz. We've come a very long way over the past 40 years. The Dakar has crossed 29 countries on 2 continents, first Africa and then for the last decade South America. So there have been plenty of stories to tell, and the incredible history of the Dakar continues to be written by our competitors who come back every year for this difficult challenge. But the scenery is always magnificent and the routes are simply exceptional. 40 editions on, we even have some grandchildren of the original participants taking part. The crowds gathered in Lima then for the official podium ceremony. The biggest cheers reserved for local hero Nicholas Fuchs. He was welcomed by Peruvian President Pedro Pablo Kaczynski as 335 vehicles prepared for a grueling adventure. So let's meet the favourites in the bikes category. The objective is to win. It's a realistic objective and we're ready to fight. My ambition is overall victory. It's great to be setting off in the dunes. I'll try to enjoy myself and ease the pressure. We're hoping to do good things and avoid mistakes.
We're looking forward to a good rally, definitely not like last year. I have to try and defend number 1.
Previously in the cars, starting a new year from a blank sheet, the only thing Mr. Dakar knows for sure is his impressive record. I'm 52, I have 29 participations, 13 wins and 1 co-driver, and still great pleasure. But there are other former winners who are ready to spoil his party. We have a very solid car and that can help us get a result on this Dakar.
Hopefully we've got the equipment now to take the fight to Peugeot, and we're going to try our best to do that.
But Peugeot have strength in numbers with Cyril Desprez and Carlos Sainz. When you've won the Dakar once, the only reason to come back is to win it again.
I think it's a good car, and a good weapon, for this race.
It's good to be the favourite, but it means that you've got to get the job done. Only 31 competitive kilometres on the menu in this first stage between Lima and Pisco after a cruise down the coast. A chance for the riders to stretch their legs before things really start hotting up. While it was the quads who officially got Dakar 2018 underway, French rookie Bruno Scheurer had the honour of being the first bike out onto the piste. All 139 riders setting off at 2-minute intervals, with the elite class riders bringing up the rear. Joan Barreda, winner of 4 stages in 2017, making a solid start. The Spaniard less than a minute down on the Stage 1 winner, Sam Sunderland. Not an easy first day for Sebastian Loeb. The 9-time WRC champion found himself without brakes just 3 kilometres into the stage. Throwing the car this way and that to slow down, in the end he managed to limit the damage to just 5.5 minutes lost. Yeah, not easy. Driving without brakes isn't exactly our favourite thing, and we didn't even have a handbrake. A flying start though for Nasser Al-Attiyah in his Toyota, the 2011 and 2015 winner coming in 25 seconds quicker than the rest. It's time to get to know the reigning bikes champion a little better. Meet 28-year-old Sam Sunderland of KTM, Great Britain's first ever winner of the Dakar.
It was a massive, massive sense of pride, but also of relief. Not only had I finished the Dakar, I'd won. And I remember the last 60 Ks. It was the last 60 Ks of the finish, and it was the longest 60 kilometers I'd ever ridden in my life. I felt like I had 3 buses on my shoulders, you know, like, come on. And then when I crossed the line, it was like, poof, like the relief was incredible. I don't know, I was always a bit wild and getting hurt a lot. I grew up on a dairy farm. I used to crash a lot, to be honest. Yeah, on my mountain bike, BMX, or even when I started riding motocross, I'd often be pretty fast and then end up falling over a lot. But yeah, I managed to figure it out a little bit. Moved to Dubai when I was 19. And that was kind of where I got into the desert riding side of things. Go and hit big jumps in the desert and free ride a little bit, but I didn't really have much desire to ride endurance races. I didn't really know much about the Dakar. I was introduced to Peter Hansel, and I didn't even know who he was. No idea. Obviously he's a massive legend, and now I look to him like a god. At that time I shook his hand like he was the plumber. I had no clue who he was, and I was just some young kid that wanted to race his bike, you know. For me, there's any one of 10 guys can win the Dakar Rally. In general, everyone gets along and has a lot of respect for each other. And I like that about rally, you know. You can't become arrogant or think you're some kind of hero, because you're not.
As a loop from the Pisco bivouac, stage 2 has very little liaison. The competitors will dive pretty much straight into battle for a tough desert stage. 90% off-piste, so navigation will be crucial on this 267-kilometre test. Uniquely for stage 2, the cars began first. That meant there were no bike tracks to follow. A big day then for the co-drivers, and crucially for the drivers to listen to their pace notes. An American Bryce Menzies massively underestimating this dune. A spectacular barrel roll. No major damage for the driver luckily, but co-driver Peter Mortensen breaking his ankle. Serious disappointment for Menzies, who had already missed Dakar 2017 with injury.
You know, Pete called it out as a big caution, and I looked at it and just thought it was a little kicker, and just hit it way too fast and went end over end. Just huge bummer. First Dakar and second day, and we're done. So just bummed, you know. It's not how I saw my Dakar going.
Nasser Al-Attiyah lost 14 minutes on stage 2. His co-driver Mathieu Baumel struggling with a bout of food poisoning. Meanwhile, 2009 champion Giniel de Villiers spent most of the day attacking, but it was a frustrating day for the South African. He could only manage 4th place behind a trio of Peugeots.
Well, the Peugeot seems to be very, very quick. I mean, I don't know if we can go that speed, but we'll see. You know, it's a long way to go, and there's a lot of things that can happen. We just try to get clean stages every time, but for sure the Peugeot looks very, very quick.
Cyril Desprez was the stage 2 winner. A 5-time champion in the bikes, the Frenchman came in ahead of his teammates and compatriots Peter Hansel and Loeb. Meanwhile, in the quads category, 2014 winner Ignacio Casale got off to the perfect start. The Chilean winning the first 3 stages to open up a 26-minute lead in the overall standings. Casale looking to outdistance the defending champion Sergei Karyakin, the Russian running in second overall. So an unusual second stage for the bikes. Not easy for Sunderland to be opening the piste after the cars. He dropped 6 minutes. Jean Barreda took full advantage, securing his 20th Dakar stage win. The Spaniard also moving to the top of the overall standings. Well, stage 2 of Dakar 2018 would be a long one. A long day of frustration and despair in the dunes of southern Peru. The quad simply doesn't have enough power. We need more power in order to reach the top. The heat also adding to the riders' woes. How will we manage? How will we get to the top? The worst, though, was still to come. Another tough stage on the menu on day 3, 296 k's of time section between Pisco and San Juan de Marcona, almost 2/3 of the day's action entirely on the sand. Barreda was the first man out of the blocks in the bikes, but the Spaniard came unstuck in the second part of the special, losing his way in the dunes. In the end, the Honda man came in almost half an hour down on the stage winner, relinquishing his overall lead. I had to come back to the previous waypoint to find my way again. So 15 kilometers there, 15 kilometers back. That was a lot of ground to cover. I lost a lot of time. Wasn't all bad news for Honda though. Another solid performance from Kevin Benavides. The Argentine looking on fine form after coming second at this year's Cross Country Rallies World Championships. He was second on the stage and went second overall. But there was no stopping Sam Sunderland, the defending champion, making it 2 stage wins in 3 days for KTM and reclaiming the overall lead. Onto the cars, and Nani Roma on a mission in his Mini, but the Spaniard dug his right wheel into the soft sand and rolled. Incredibly, this happening less than a kilometre from the finish. Well, the 2014 winner would eventually go on to complete the stage, but this was where his Dakar adventure ended. Roma suffering head trauma, although he didn't lose consciousness, and eventually forced to call it quits. Elsewhere, business as usual for Mr. Dakar. Stefan Petter Hansel knows that consistency is key, and with his long-term co-driver Jean-Paul Cottret, this exactly the kind of stage where experience can bring rich rewards. They came in second behind Nasser Al-Attiyah. Even the massive trucks of Dakar 2018 are dwarfed by Peru's dunes. Alexei Wisniewski moving into 3rd place overall here for Maz. And Argentine rally legend Federico Viagra taking an impressive stage win to stay second, just 9 minutes off the pace. That man Nikolaev still leading the way for Kamaz. Sunderland, the early bikes leader, ahead of Benavides and Pablo Quintanilla. And in the cars, the familiar sight of Petter Hansel on top, 3 Peugeot in the top 5.